And we're going to go live now to Brussels, where that final Brexit deal, if there is one, will be finalised after months of tense negotiations. We're going to join our Europe correspondent, Gavin Lee, to talk a little more about it. Gavin?
Well, it's a slightly different view, actually, because we're only a stone's throw here from the European Commission and Council, where at each summit, Brexit talks have been on the agenda. But this is the place, the Grand Place, the main square. If we look around, nice time of the afternoon, where the art of the city is being drawn out in front of us, where Angela Merkel, the German Chancellor, sometimes comes for frites after a summit or a bit of downtime. And actually what's happening right now is that some of the key figures of the European Council, Donald Tusk, the head of the Council, also Michel Barnier, the EU's Brexit negotiator, they're packing their bags because tomorrow they're all heading to Salzburg for the summit where Theresa May meets the other leaders. And it's their first meeting since the summer, since the Chequers plan, where British government believe they've compromised a little to get a deal. Some say it's common sense. Other ministers have walked away saying it's blinking before the EU and giving too much. Now, it's interesting because today this report from the Migration Advisory Committee, which suggests that the advice is that there should be no preferential treatment in a sort of post-vision for Brexit for EU workers. They should have a similar system to Canada, whereby it's a point system, it's a highly skilled system. The caveat was, though, the advice to the British government, which they say that they're taking seriously, is that they could use that as a negotiating position with the EU to say, if you want preferential treatment, well, listen to others in other areas we want. Let me get a sense of European reaction to this. Talk to Takis Hadjigeorgiou. You're a Cypriot MEP, a left MEP. When you hear that, the British government being advised that there should be no preferential treatment for EU workers, what's your instinct?
Well, let me first thank you for giving me the opportunity to pass my ideas to the British audience, people. I believe that this is just a bargaining issue. I think that after Brexit, all the Europeans should have the same rights, should have the possibility to exercise the same rights as they do now in United Kingdom. Any other thing on the table, I really believe that this is just a game coming out from the British government just to put pressure on the table of the negotiations.
There are 300,000 Cypriots living and working in the UK. When you hear and you see the developments ahead of this key summit in Salzburg, what's the Cypriot view on, and your view on, how Brexit is being managed at the moment in the UK?
Well, connected that to Cyprus, you mean, and to the Cypriots. I really believe what I already said, that after the Brexit, the Cypriots in England, the Cypriots in the United Kingdom, the British in Cyprus, the Cypriots who now live in the British bases in Cyprus, the British who live in the British bases in Cyprus, all of them, they will have, it's a must to continue having the same rights as they do have now.
Continue those rights. Another point that not everybody knows about, because the fascination has been with the situation with Gibraltar, with the Northern Ireland border to sort, but one of the issues still marked as amber on the EU's list with the UK, the 20% that hasn't been sorted, includes Cyprus. There are two British bases there, Dekelia and Akrotiri. 7,000 Cypriots live in that border territory. Give me a sense, and give the audience a sense, of why that's still an important issue that hasn't been resolved.
Well, I think that the British government uses the fact that they have there the British bases, and they say, look, after the Brexit, these rights of the people who now live here or work here, they may be reduced. And again, here happens the same game as I said before is happening on the table of the negotiations between United Kingdom and the European Union. In my opinion, it's not negotiable even to discuss, even to think more than a second, than the people who live there for centuries, there is any possibility to reduce their rights. It's, for me, it's absolutely out of any sense.
Takis Hadjigeorgiou, thank you for talking to us. And you can see, Hugh, how busy it is this evening. I mean, it is worth saying on the the Cypriot issue, I mean, you have 7,000 Cypriots living around the base area of Akatiri. They're concerned, for example, if you're a Cypriot farmer and you have access to the common agricultural policy, and if suddenly Brexit happens, do you still have access? An interesting fact as well, because British territory in Cyprus, it takes up 3% of sovereign territory. It's the only area that uses the euro. So in that British part of Cyprus, do they still use the euro? Do they revert to the pound? And that's why this is one of the smaller issues, but an issue that still, nonetheless, hasn't been resolved.
Gavin, thank you so much. Gavin Lee, our correspondent there in the heart of Brussels, in the Grand Place, and thanks to your guests as well.